I've been using the 16 Pro Max for over 2 months now, and I wouldn't really say it's a disappointment, but it feels like I bought a slightly upgraded iPhone 15 Pro Max. And the most notable change is a better battery life. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of pros worth highlighting. Let's dive in and I'll break everything down. So let's start with the camera control button. This was one of the most exciting features at the launch. Unfortunately, it turned out to be very useless. After using the 16 Pro Max for 2 months now, I still haven't found out a real reason to use this button. Now, here's how it works. With a single click, you open the camera. With another click, you can take a picture. If you do a light double press, you see a menu similar to what you find on professional cameras. The menu includes settings like exposure, depth, zoom, and other stuffs. To select an option, you scroll and lightly press the button, and then to exit back to the main menu, you double press again. Personally, I think the idea is solid. The feature itself is impressive, but the button placement feels kind of uncomfortable. Honestly, I think it's easier to just stick to the camera control. Now, what would have been a game changer, unfortunately, it's not practical as it sounds. Now, for the camera of the 16 Pro Max, it's quite impressive, but not different from the 15 Pro Max. Now, the main difference is that the photos are brighter and more detailed. The main camera delivers colorful, clear shots. Portrait modes are very beautiful. The selfie camera stands out well. It's incredibly sharp, and it's good with low light. There's also a new feature called Styles. I think it's only available on the 16 Pro Max. This feature lets you choose filters while taking photos. I think it's something women would love, especially because they can actually fine-tune or put filters directly from the photo camera. For video, both the front and the back camera shoot 4K, same thing you find on the 13, 14, and 15 Pro Max. But there's also an extra feature of shooting 120 FPS, which I still haven't found use for. But then again, I shoot professional shots on my Sony camera. But all in all, I have no complaint. The camera of the 16 Pro Max is really good and exceptional. So next, let's talk about Apple Intelligence. At the time of making this video, I'm running on iOS 18.1.1, and I have to say this version of Apple Intelligence feels quite dumb. Okay, to be fair, I would say just limited, especially when it comes to the writing tools. Currently, all you can do with the writing tool is to proofread, rewrite, or adjust your tone, choosing between professional or friendly, and a few other options. Honestly, I think these features aren't that useful. Plus, what's the point of using AI if you can't create a custom prompt? But the good news is that from iOS 18.2, Apple has included the feature where you can type a custom prompt. As for virtual intelligence, we also have to wait for iOS 18.2. For now, what's left is Cleanup, which is Apple's version of background eraser, and the Summarize tool, which you can use to summarize emails or write-ups. In summary, Apple Intelligence is not the smartest right now, but there's hope for improvements and future updates. Next, let's talk about the battery. The battery of this device is arguably one of the biggest highlights of it. It features a 4685 mAh battery, which is the largest battery on any iPhone right now. As someone who's a heavy user, believe me, I appreciate the lifespan. For my day-to-day, the highest I got out of this device was 12 hours 20 minutes screen time. For context, that's pretty solid, which is almost a day of use. If you're a light user, you can expect to get at least 18 to 24 hours of battery life, which is quite impressive. Now, when it comes to charging, the speed is the same as the 15 Pro Max. It supports 30 watts or 33 watts or lower. I personally use a 20 watts charger, and it takes me 37 minutes to get from 0 to 50%. If you have a 25 watts charger, it will take less. It takes about 30 minutes to reach from 0 to 50%. So basically, while the charging speed is still the same as the 15 Pro Max, the larger battery on the 16 Pro Max makes up for it. Now let's talk about the design. The 16 Pro Max sticks to the familiar design we've seen for almost 5 years now. But there are some few updates. The screen is slightly bigger, going from 6.7 inch to 6.9 inches. And I have to admit, I love the new size. It's also heavier, moving from 229 grams to 227 grams. The titanium build is the same as last year, but the sides are rounder, giving it a smoother feel. The LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED screen remains, but this time it's really bright. Media consumption on this display is impressive. It's colorful, it's immersive, it's one of the best I've seen. The only rivalry I've seen to this device is the S24 Ultra screen. They also retain the same 120Hz refresh rate from last year. Normally, I wouldn't know the difference until I turned on reduced motion and limited frame rate, and I realized how people are suffering. Like people that use 60Hz display are really missing out. Now, back to the conversation. The 16 Pro Max has peak brightness of 2000 nits, the same as last year 15 Pro Max. There's still an always on display. Overall, I would say the display is really good and colorful. Now let's talk about performance. The 16 Pro Max is powered by Apple's A18 Pro chipset. It's a 3nm chipset, which is both fast and reliable, and there's no lag or overheating, except for when you're charging or playing heavy duty game, but it's nothing concerning. With an impressive score of 1.5 million on Antutu benchmark, this chip can handle anything you throw at it, including games like Warzone and Genshin Impact, and it will play it on high frame rates with no lag. The Pro and the Pro Max model all come with 8GB of RAM, offering you storage of 256, 512 and 1TB. The regular Pro model can go as low as 128GB. When it comes to performance, I won't complain. The only problem I can say is the Antutu benchmark score is quite low. But from what I know from using Apple devices over the years, I don't think the benchmark score matters. Apple chipsets are very reliable. So as usual, pros and cons before I give my conclusion. Pro number 1, screen is bright, vibrant. I love the display. It's very good. Pro number 2, camera. The camera is amazing. It's sharp, good with low lights, takes amazing pictures and videos. Especially the videos, is one of the best video cameras out there. Pro number 3, impressive battery life. 12 hours, 20 minutes, as I said, I could get that. Light usage 24 hours, but overall I don't need to charge that much, at least once or twice in a day. For the cons, I think there's just 3. First one is the camera control button. Maybe it could be useful in the future, but right now it's quite useless. It's as useless as the action button. Both of them are practically useless. Con number 2, 4K 120 FPS. It's impressive, but I don't know anybody that uses it in the real world. But maybe I'll try it out and see what I can use it for my videos. And my final con, Apple Intelligence. It's crazy we had to wait how many months to get Apple Intelligence, and it's still not the 100% version. Now we have to wait for iOS 18.2. Android are not this bad. We should not be suffering this, Apple. For my conclusion, I think the 16 Pro Max is an amazing device, and this is coming from someone that has been using the iPhone since the iPhone 4S. And believe me, this is coming from love and experience. I think Apple needs to step up. There should be features that make the iPhone stand out, not just gimmick or recycled AI tools that Android has had for years. The 16 Pro Max is a solid upgrade, offering improved performance, excellent battery, and reliability. But if you're considering getting it, don't set your expectations too high. It's a great device, but I think it's time Apple gave us something groundbreaking. So as usual, like, share, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about my review and the 16 Pro Max, and I'll see you guys in the next one.